Thank you, Ms. Adams. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Ferguson, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here today. I want to spend a little bit of time focusing on the small business aspect of this. Mr. Gertzenberger, and I hope I said that right. Listening to you answer questions from my colleague on the other side of the aisle, it reminded me a little bit of what life was like in my dental practice. We want to be in compliance. Okay, we want to be helpful. The challenge is that small business owners don't have the back office compliance capacity that you need to read through the reams. I mean, it's just daunting. I went to school to be a dentist, and at the same time, I've got to now be an HR director. We've got to be an OSHA compliance expert. So I just want to make the statement that I understand exactly where you're coming from, and my question I want to go to Mr. Hobbs on this is to say, other than working with the Small Business Administration and rulemaking, can you do a little bit deeper dive into how we can partner with OSHA to make sure that we're in compliance, to make sure that we're taking care of our employees, but not living under the fear of if we don't do one particular thing right, there's a $10,000 fine waiting on the back end for us. That's it's this prescriptive nature of regulation that is it really is so hard for small businesses. We don't want to be out of compliance, and we think that we are. But when we're having to deal, in my case, with bloodborne pathogens, we think we're doing everything right. But we would welcome someone to come in and say, "Hey, here's a better way of doing it," instead of, "Oh my goodness, you did not document the third item in the fifth paragraph in the sixth book, and here's a $10,000 fine." Same thing with MSDS sheets. Talk a little bit about what more can be done to partner with the small business community.
Thank you, Congressman. I've been focusing on, and I believe wholly in, compliance assistance. This goes back to a fundamental problem, I'd suggest, with the agency, not with any particular administration, but with the agency generally, because it views itself only, or has traditionally viewed itself only, as an enforcer rather than as a partner. Now, there's some breaches in that dam, I realize, but fundamentally, I have compliance officers recently who are relatively insecure coming into workplaces, flashing their badges and threatening warrants immediately out of the chute without any resistance by the employer in the first instance. Even police officers and police departments set up community centers, and they give baseball cards to kids. And they go door to door, and they kiss the babies. They want to be partners with the communities in which they live. And OSHA's never really gotten that, in my view. And I know Dr. Michaels is chafing at the bit to comment. I don't believe the agency...
Dr. Michaels is not recognized, so please carry on.
I appreciate that, Congressman. Compliance assistance and assistance generally, being a resource, being viewed as a partner rather than as an adversary, is critical. It's critical to the success of safety and health in the workplace. With all due respect to Dr. Michaels, when he took the helm of OSHA many years ago now, one of his first comments was, "There's a new sheriff in town." Well, then you wonder why employers are not too fond of partnering with the agency or believing that the agency is going to be a partner. I mean, a lot of it has to do with image, but a lot of it has to do with acting on what ought to be the image of the agency being an assistor and not just an enforcer.
May I respond to that? There was a
No.
But I never said there would be a new sheriff in town.
Dr. Michaels, yeah. I'm going to reclaim my time right here.
That's fine.
Because I think Mr. Hobbs brings up a very valid point here, and that is that whether it's perception or reality, many of us in the small business community truly fear an interaction with OSHA. Okay, it is probably second only to an interaction with the IRS, and that may be slightly behind a plaintiff's attorney coming in. Okay, but there ain't a whole lot of daylight between those three entities, if you know what I mean. So I think the organization has got a lot of work to do in really reaching out and being involved and working with these voluntary compliance programs, because I will tell you, despite your remarks and your assertion earlier that most of the interactions are, hey, let's find out what happened and let's see how we can help. we find a very different environment. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.